Let's start off basic. What is a TFSA?
The TFSA, or tax-free savings account, is a registered savings account that you can hold investments inside of. So this is an opportunity for us to put after-tax dollars in. So we get our paycheck and the tax comes off already, and we put those funds into our tax-free savings account, and our investments can grow tax-free. And then down the line, when we go to make a withdrawal, we get to withdraw them tax-free. And that's what makes it a little bit different than an RRSP, like we talked about last month, where you're going to pay down the road when you withdraw.
Is there a contribution limit to a TFSA?
There's a contribution limit set every year. This year, it's $7,000. But it accumulates. So if you didn't get to put $7,000 in it this year, don't worry. That contribution space will roll over. And if you've been 18 since 2009, you'll have $95,000 of total contribution room in your TFSA.
This sounds great. What is the downside, if there is one?
The downside is that it's a little bit misunderstood. The TFSA has a bit of a branding issue. It's sort of the mysterious bad boy of the investing funds or the investing vehicles. Oftentimes it was sold when it first came out in 2009 as a savings account, and it is a savings account, but it's meant to be used to invest. So I like to use the metaphor of sort of going to the mall. You've arrived at the mall, you've got your wallet, but until you start shopping, you're actually kind of just loitering. You have to take your money into a store and buy a fund. And that's how you actually are invested, compared to right now you're just holding it in the savings account and you're not really, probably not seeing your money grow very much. And so it is one of those things where we think we're doing the right thing. We set up the account, we started the automatic contribution, but it's not growing and we're not seeing an actual investment happen.
So then how do you kind of turn it around? Like, what's kind of the first step people should be taking if they are, let's say, opening up a TFSA? What do you need to do? What do you need to consider?
There are two types of TFSAs. There's a general TFSA and a self-directed TFSA. So if you have a general TFSA, it's likely through your bank, and you need to talk to your advisor at the bank to get to choose products to buy. They're going to help you determine your risk profile, because there are low-risk products and high-risk products and everything in between. And your advisor would help you at the bank. Or there's a lot of platforms now where there's robo-advisors that can make a suggestion for you, or you can do it through your bank and make a selection of different portfolios yourself. So there's a couple of ways you can do it, but if you've been sitting just with money in the savings portion, it's time to get shopping.
Yeah. Is there anybody who shouldn't have a TFSA? Like, is there a circumstance where it isn't kind of the best way to invest your money or save your money?
If you're able to invest, it's a great option for anybody. You know, it's only applicable to you if you're 18 and over. And it's a great option for everybody. People use sort of a combination of TFSA and RRSP and even unregistered investment accounts if you have enough to be able to do that. But TFSA is a great option for everybody because it is tax efficient. We can use RRSPs to also be tax efficient, but really for those who are in lower tax brackets, it's a great option because similarly to the TFSA, the RRSP's contribution room also rolls over and accumulates. Okay. So we can kind of save some of that space and right now utilize the TFSA. So there's nowhere you can really go wrong outside of understanding that there's always a risk involved because it's an investment.
So that, like, you could lose money with the TFSA still?
You can lose money with a TFSA just like any investment. And that's why it's really important to understand your risk tolerance. And really, even if you just stay in the savings portion, you may be able to make your contributions and the balance grows over time. You won't lose anything if you never invest, but the value of your money will go down. So the balance stays the same, but the value over time goes down. $50,000 today is not what $50,000 will be worth in 10 years due to inflation.
Right. Okay. Mm-hmm. And then how do you use the money in your TFSA? Like you said that once you reach a certain age, you can take it out, it's tax-free. How does that work?
The other beautiful part of a tax-free savings account is it's quite liquid. You can take the money out anytime you need it. It's intended for long-term investment. You know, time inside of an investment is the most valuable thing. But if you need it for something, before that, you're able to pull your money out without being taxed.
But it's not supposed to be used. It's not designed like if it's not again, as the name misleads us to, it's not your savings account where you're saving for a vacation. You're putting money in there.
Yeah, it gets conflated with a high interest savings account. So there are savings accounts available also on these platforms where you might keep an emergency fund or you might keep your vacation savings where you're going to get 3 or 4% inside of that. But the TFSA is intended for investing, and it's intended for sort of a long time horizon.
So you can take money out of it then?
You can take money out of it without paying tax on it anytime you need it. You would just sort of reverse however you bought your shares. So if you bought your funds through the bank with your advisor, you would go to them and say, I need to withdraw this number of dollars. They're going to give you the information about how many shares that is. So you have all the information you need to make an informed choice. And if you self-directed, then you're going to, instead of hit buy, hit sell so that you get the right amount of money out of your account. It'll be based on the shares and the cost per share at that time. And then that's how you get it back.
I find this so interesting because I know I've heard so much about RRSPs, and again, we've had that conversation, and I've heard about TFSAs, and I have a TFSA. To be honest, I haven't really, know what to do with it. This has been incredibly helpful. Thank you so much. I always appreciate you joining us.
Oh, it's my pleasure as usual.